Helen, thank you so much for being flexible. We appreciate you for joining us today. We have 15 minutes. We have a timer there. All three of us have about 5 to 6 minutes, including your responses. So I'm going to kick us off in our first question. You have been very eloquent about the education sector. My question for you is I want you to think out 10 years from now. What does the school district of Philadelphia, including public and charters, what does it look like? Who are our young people, and what 3 levers will you pull to achieve that vision?
Yes, so good evening, everybody. It is such a pleasure to be up here with these illustrious leaders, and to everybody out here in the audience. I'm Helen Gim, proudly standing before you as mayor for Philadelphia, and the first mayor, I believe, who will not turn his back on our public school system or fail to fulfill the promise. I believe that every mayor before me has done that, and this is a chance for a real leader to step forward and fully embrace the possibilities of our school district, our school system, our young people, and our city. So you are asking this wonderful question about what it means for the next decade. And for me, I think it's very clear about what this is going to look like. First of all, I'm going to see a growing Philadelphia. I want to see more children in all of our school systems, more families staying here because of the opportunities that are offered here. And may I be judged in my first term about my ability to actually grow the school systems here in the city of Philadelphia with more children than we've had before. Second, I've made it very clear that I believe in building a modern school system. It is unconscionable in this day and age that we have schools where young people are going still without air conditioning, in toxic school systems where poisoned by lead, asbestos, and mold, where we still don't have air conditioning that allows young people to go to school year-round. Lower Merion just built a $90 million public middle school for 12-year-olds. And our children are not going to be left behind. So I have laid out a plan, a common sense plan, for a real Green New Deal to modernize our public school systems over the next decade, to pull all of our entities together, including at the state and federal level, to make sure that our private institutions, our education, higher ed, and hospitals and medical institutions pay in, because a healthier, more educated, and cared for populace is a healthier, educated, and more cared for Philadelphia. I do believe that somebody is going to lead that vision moving forward. But I also believe that this is a city that needs to value the outcomes for young people as well. So I've really focused in. I want to see literacy and graduation rates improve at a significant rate. And I believe that you do that by actually retraining, engaging our educators. This is a new world about how literacy is done. It starts from the youngest age, but it also goes all the way up K to 16. It's not just about phonics in the classroom for ABCs. It is about how young people interpret this world, the ability to be both spoken, listening, oral, auditory, creative, writing, and expressive, and I need to see that happen. I want to invest. I hope you judge me by the ability to improve literacy, graduation rates, and of course, even though you said only 3, I'm a teacher, and I want to see teachers make Philadelphia the place that they call home. So I'm recruiting, bringing in, elevating this profession that I believe needs to drive a new Philadelphia forward as well.
Thank you. So let me squeeze in one question, because I think we only have a minute left. So how would you specifically increase the number of high-quality schools in high-need neighborhoods? And then you laid out an elegant plan. How would you pay for it?
Yes. So for high-quality schools, and I know that this is a city that likes to talk about excellence and exceptionalism, but in a city where there has been so much disinvestment, I am first and foremost going to start with stabilizing all of our schools. The chaos that young people go through in their entire lives is absolutely unconscionable, and having schools open and close, opening schools with double-digit vacancies in certain classrooms is just absolutely unacceptable to me. I need to see and make sure that every school is staffed, not just based on enrollment, but also based on need. Because I don't believe that there's any child at any school that doesn't deserve a nurse and counselor, social worker programs, after-school programs. If we're gonna open schools, we wanna make sure that they are going year-round. Excellence comes out of stability and equity. Excellence doesn't survive if I have excellent schools amid so much of islands of excellence amid a sea of inequity. It's not a great system. Stabilizing this city, stabilizing our schools, leaning in and investing in those is the key path towards how we're going to build excellence and how we're going to make sure that everybody has a chance to have a quality education system, because I'm holding on to every family.
So let me ask this question, just to go right with that, Helen. When you talk about this excellent system, when so many families are finding it hard to help their children navigate to safe places in school, so it's not necessarily safe for so many families inside or outside of schools, what are you going to do to implement a system to help people feel safe sending their children to these great schools?
Yes, and so one of the core parts of my public safety initiative is talking about safe passages to and from schools. Honestly, if we focused in on a 7 to 9 a.m., 3 to 5 p.m. effort to ensure that young people had safe passage, that includes expanded sort of like, the old crossing guard models, but much more expanded. I want clarity about which street passageways we're going to clear and have better monitored, to make sure that young people in high-impact neighborhoods do not have to worry about how far they are away from school. If they need a free SEPTA pass and they want to ride the bus for 1 block or 2 blocks, then they're going to get it, because I'm certainly not going to withhold any of that in certain neighborhoods where it doesn't feel safe to go back and forth. And I'm prioritizing safety and a coordinated safety mission on SEPTA and especially on transit, because I understand what it felt like. My child had to go travel, 40 minutes for SEPTA to go to their schools. And I know some kids who are traveling 2 hours to get back and forth to schools.
So question here before you go, because maybe you can answer this. So part of that is that some of this lack of safety inside of the schools is also because of the shortage of the staff. And it's not just as an educator, the educators, but the paras and all those who are important to the safety and well-running of a school. So there is this campaign that's so necessary about needing more Black teachers. So how do we retain the teachers that we have? And how do we recruit and retain a staff of teachers that look like the students to which they teach?
So I think, one, Principal Bradley, as the leader at a school that has proven that we can not only recruit, retain, and also grow and develop Black educators who have stayed true and loyal. The district has made a significant error in not being able to talk to you and many others about how to do this, because this is clearly not impossible if Principal Bradley was able to do it at Bethune Elementary School and become a national model. I think it starts, one, with Black leadership and raising up Black leaders within our school systems. I was certainly appalled many years ago when the principalships at some of the top schools in the city did not elect a single Black principal at any of them, or that one was not chosen. People have to know that this city is going to, that this school system is going to invest in, value, and uplift Black educators into positions of leadership. That's core for me. Second, I believe that we should be partnering up with our HBCUs. I am already pre-designating. If you sign up for Lincoln or Cheney University's teacher education program, you have a guaranteed job in the school district of Philadelphia, ready to go. We don't do that. We wait until they graduate, we hunt them down, afterwards, we tell them to apply. And why would we do that? If you are signing up for a teacher education program, I am guaranteeing you a job in the school district of Philadelphia and a promise that we will reimburse you we will do a teacher reimbursement plan for every year that you stay in the school district. And I believe that that's actually a promise and an investment. I also believe that the district has done a tremendous job trying to start with paraprofessionals. This is an ecosystem. Education is not just about a hierarchy of who gets in. This is an ecosystem. So if you start out as an aide or a teacher's assistant or a bilingual counseling assistant, especially if you have bilingual skills, I want to pull you into this university at CCP to promise you that you have debt-free opportunities, cost-free, or tuition reimbursement. And as you get your degree, again, I'm promising you that job on the back end. I'm telling you that there is a job that's waiting for you without all the hurdles that we consistently make people go through.
So how do we pay for that?
So here's the thing. And I want to talk about this because I have actually done this. If you think the money exists for everything we want and need right now, nothing ever moves. And that's why we see so many small ideas in the city of Philadelphia, because people do not understand that this isn't just about the money that we've had, because Philadelphia has been held down. Someone just said Philadelphia is the poorest large city in the country. I don't think about it that way. Philadelphia is not a city full of poor people. Philadelphia is a city that keeps its people poor. It keeps its people poor because it thinks so small, because it doesn't build a sense of investment. If I tell you that I can build new schools all over the city of Philadelphia right now, we're not going to have that conversation based on the money that we have. But if I tell you that over the next 2 years, you're going to see a school building plan that's going to transform the city, that's going to anchor people here, and that's going to build a healthier, educated, and more engaged young population of young people, watch the investments come in. I have done it. I have proven it. I've started off with small amounts of money and turned it into huge investments in education, in housing, in clean water, in air conditioning in schools, and that is just a start.
Thank you. And with that, we're going to turn it over to
Yes.
Dr. Jacobson.
I don't know if this is on. Is this on? Is
I'm
it on? Okay.
excited about being here because I've been starved of this community, folks.
Helen.
We need this conversation.
Thank you. So despite our city being home to a large number of colleges and universities, only 28% of our residents 25 years and older have a bachelor's degree. As a former teacher in Philadelphia, you have a special understanding of our students' experience in the K-12 space. What strategies would you implement or support in Philadelphia's K-12 schools to promote and strengthen pathways to college and post-secondary completion?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. And yes, I do definitely want to talk about how many young people need bachelor's degrees and have that opportunity to do it. But I also want to start off by saying that 4,000 kids dropped out of school last year. 3,600 kids have dropped out of school since September of this year, as reported by our superintendent from just last Thursday's school board meeting. This is an existential crisis for the city of Philadelphia. This is not a young person's issue. This is not just a school district issue. This is every single person in this room and the 1.5 million people outside of it. We are losing our children each and every day. We are pushing them out of institutions that take billions of our dollars, and we are not bringing them back in. First and foremost, if I want a young person to be able to go to college and see themselves in their opportunity, I need to transform the experience as soon as I tell a young person to show up to school. I need that school to be that vibrant institution. Why I'm saying I don't want an enrollment-based staffing approach where I allocate staffing based on the number of students in the school. If I open up a school, I need that school to feel like home, I need that school to feel like opportunity, and I need that school to feel like an investment in that young person and their family. Second, I need to support mental health. Absolutely. I need to hold on to our young people's well-being. This is not just about test scores, and it's not just about all of us know that the ability to make it through college relies on two things. One, how much money you make because of the amount of debt that is incurred by too many institutions. And then two, the resilience that young people have when they transfer in from a K-12 experience into that independent living experience. I need our young people to be prepared on that from day one. And then third, I absolutely think that part of being here at CCP, and one of the things I've often talked about, is that college needs to be affordable and accessible for young people. They need to see the investments that come into them. It's unconscionable that Pennsylvania graduates if you go to a public university in Pennsylvania, you graduate with one of the highest debt loads in the entire country. That's devastating. And what am I telling young people? That's what CCP should be for. That's one of the opportunities for it, and why I think it's a chance for increasing not only participation, graduation, but that bachelor's degree that we're talking about.
Thank you, Helen. And you mentioned that earlier in one of your responses, you talked about that you would work with state and federal officials to advance your education agenda and to see your education goals move forward. As you talk about college affordability specifically, we know that the city, there's a lot the city can do. There's also a lot of talk about the state and the feds needing to kick in more as well. Can you talk a little bit about how you would, as mayor, engage state and federal policymakers to ensure that we're able to move this agenda forward?
Yeah, so, in situations where I feel like Philadelphia has been so far left behind, I'm not naive enough to think that somebody in Harrisburg or anybody in Washington, D.C. is going to craft a program for us. I believe the best way to go to our state and federal partners is for us to deliver a homegrown, visionary, and highly competent program that shows what's worth investing in, and that program should be something that should excite people. Again, as I said, I don't think anyone's going to hand us anything on a silver platter. I want to see a real investment around teacher-led recruitment pipelines that can bring in Black and brown and bilingual teachers that can help meet our young people's needs. I absolutely believe that leaning in on a school modernization effort can excite those opportunities, and that's also here at higher education and universities. And one of the things that got shared about with the new Temple program, and especially, universities aren't just, isolated within these boundaries. The belief is that if a university if we have a higher ed institution, we should not therefore have the highest educational disparities within our own borders. And so that university should contribute to the transformation of the surrounding neighborhoods. I believe that actually brings in more investments from the state and from the federal government. It's not just about the educational institution, it's how the educational and the higher education institution transforms for the better the surrounding neighborhoods and communities and uplifts opportunity within them as well.
Thank you, Helen.
So we're going to give you 30 seconds to share any parting thoughts.
My parting thoughts for this audience, which believes so much in education, which in many ways willed into being a vision for young people, families, and educators who could lead the city forward, that this is a transformative time. This will be the first mayor in a generation to actually control the entire school district under local control. And this is not about somebody who's going to appoint 9 different directors and let a school district go on autopilot or allow a bunch of universities to operate in silos. This is a time for a mayor who's going to lead a unified initiative from the moment a young person steps into school. I've been doing this work for more than 20 years. I've stewed at night thinking about how this city needs to turn itself around. I'm not somebody who's going to start a job on January 2024. I'm here to finish one, and it's going to invest in children, in families, in educators, in the entire city of Philadelphia for every child and for every Philadelphian.
Thank you so much. Please join me in welcoming and thanking Helen Gim.